had a turning point moment with my mentor at the time. And that really shaped a lot of my entire career from that point forward. I ended up being rookie of the year the next year in the company, number 2 in the company, which was first full year in the business. Got promoted to a divisional leadership role. And I really learned a lot in that moment, but really the lessons that I learned in those first like 2 to 3 years have really become, I think, the foundation for what even still to this day, 20 plus years later, really drives a lot of what we do as a company.
Well, I know that structure because I too came from the Cutco knife world. And then I believe you had a stint at Cintas and now into publishing, maybe something else in there that I don't know about.
That's right. Yeah. I was with Cutco for 10 years in that divisional leadership role. For most of that, I did 4 years with Cintas as the general sales manager for the New York metro area, New York City and the boroughs. And then I took a flyer on a startup internet company that had a ton of VC money. I did that for a year. It was a pretty interesting experience. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
And halfway through that year, I was already looking to get into something more entrepreneurial again, which landed me in N2 after a year of working in that environment.
So let me ask you something briefly about that 1 year spent at that startup. Do you regret that decision, or do you feel like because of that decision, it led to where you are now?
That's 1,000%. Yeah. I felt like it was the worst decision I'd ever made. When I left Cintas, I left on a high. I capped my comp out 2 years in a row. That was one of the reasons I was leaving, because I couldn't find a way to make more money there because I was making as much as they would possibly pay me as a sales leader. And so I left for that reason. And while I was in that season, it was a miserable experience. But the truth is, if I had stayed where I was complacently, just accepting that's my kind of cap and I could do it with one arm tied behind my back, I never would have made the jump to come to where I am today. I never would have stretched to grow again as both an entrepreneur and as an executive, which really ended up happening when that whole internet company thing fell apart.